Hello, and TV. So for now, I like to look at this is a conference of Kenyan and American politics. So I'll be mixing up a lot of Kenyan and American politics. So for now, I'd like to look at so will ODM, that is the ruling party, the opposition party in Kenya, will it survive without Raila Odinga? That is, will ODM survive without Raila Odinga? We have already seen several factions in ODM. We have already seen several factions in ODM, and I think that is something that we should see. So Raila Odinga was the numero uno of ODM. He was the unifier. Raila Odinga was really the one who called the shots and unified the party. He formed the party back then in 2005 when ODM coming from that referendum. They came from that referendum, and of course, they became a party. And of course, it is now one of the oldest parties in Kenya. You have even the president, William Ruto, was once a member of ODM. So you can imagine how really strong ODM was. And I think that is something we need to pay particular attention to. That is how strong ODM was. But with the death of Raila Odinga, we are seeing several factions emerging. Of course, you have the young leaders such as Babu Owino and Edwin Sifuna. They have said categorically that ODM will not support President William Ruto in 2027. And of course, that is going to irk a lot of people in UDA because Ruto is not assured of the Mount Kenya support. And so he wants to broaden his base. And what better way than possibly to extend his reach to the parts where Raila had a stronghold, that is in Luo Nyanza and maybe parts of Western and Coast. And so basically, of course, now you have even Winnie Odinga castigating the leadership of the party, saying there will never be another one like Raila Odinga, saying Raila Odinga was one in a million, in effect castigating his uncle, that is Oburu Odinga, and telling him categorically that basically he thinks that is ODM is making a mistake in going to bed with William Ruto. Of course, you see those factions emerging, and of course, you see the firebrand Secretary General, that is Edwin Sifuna, firing the shots that ODM will must field a candidate in the presidential election in 2027, and of course, this complicates the mass for the party leader Oburu Odinga. Of course, Oburu Odinga has maintained that ODM will enter into pre-election coalition talks with UDA, but coalition talks basically don't go very well. That is, the coalition talks don't go very well, and I think that is why then ODM will have to do more in order to broaden its base. And of course, the party needs its youthful members. It cannot afford to kick away the Secretary General. Edwin Sifuna, lest ODM be seen as a regional party. Maybe that's why ODM must not be seen as a Luo party. Basically, Raila made it a national party, and basically, if they lost they lost plot of the fact that they are a national party, then it will retreat to being a Luo party and not even a Luo party in its entirety, because now you will have the court hangers of Raila Odinga will no longer be there. Now it will be interesting to see the elections in Luo how will they be? I think they will be very formidable this time. The elections in Luo will be very, very formidable. I think this is the time that we are going to see real competitive elective polls in Luo because now you will find that people will not be hanging on to Raila Odinga. They will have to campaign on issues. That is, the Luo brethren will have to campaign on issues. They cannot be campaigning that they are helping Raila Odinga on the national stage, therefore deserve a free ticket in Luo. So that's what we are observing, and I think then for Luo it will be about who can best augur well for the party. So you have the likes of Simbarati, Abdul Samad Sharif, and of course Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, and of course other people who are coming on to give the party the face of Kenya. And I think you have this plot that has been mooted before, that is Gladys Wanga will be the running mate of Gladys Wanga will be the running mate of William Ruto. So, of course, we know William Ruto has lost a sizable Mount Kenya vote. We don't know whether he has lost all the Mount Kenya votes, but he has lost a sizable. So, basically, right now, and then it will be important to ask will it will be important to ask will ODM survive that? If Ruto decides that Mount Kenya is lost, then he could go for Gladys Wanga. And I think maybe that is what you have Abdul Samad Sharif saying ODM will not go for anything less than a deputy president post. That is what Abdul Samad Sharif says, that ODM will not go for a post lower than the deputy president post. And of course, that will complicate the math for Ruto. Basically, you have Kizura Kindiki. How do you remove him? So, of course, Mount Kenya could be divided between Mount Kenya West, the Kikos, and Mount Kenya East, that is the Merus and Emus. And of course, that will be something very, very interesting to see. So, I think right now the party must, but I've said very many times that the political parties in Kenya are not formed for posterity. They are merely vehicles of winning elections. And I think for them, the way it has survived, it has entered into coalitions with President Mwai Kibaki, with Uhuru Kenyatta, the handshake, and now with William Ruto, the broad-based government. And so basically, I think right now, then ODM is going to have to, I think ODM will have to just go to the ground and attempt and rekindle Raila spirit. I don't know whether Oburu Odinga can fit the shoes of Raila Odinga, whether Oburu Odinga, his elder brother, can fit the shoes of Raila Odinga, but it will be something interesting to see. And I think that is something that will be looking at on whether ODM can survive the Raila Odinga politics, on whether ODM can survive the Raila Odinga politics. So, do you think ODM can survive the Raila Odinga politics? So, you let me know on whether ODM can survive without Raila Odinga. But I think going forward, we need our parties to be really centers of ideological thought and opinion. They need to be bastions of ideological thought and opinion. We don't want parties that are formed merely as election vehicles and then they collapse once the election is over. I think ODM, yes, it is not an ideological party per se, although it was supposed to be a social democracy. But then, of course, you have the personality cult of Raila Odinga. So I think these the parties being personality cults should stop, and so ODM should be able to revive itself as a party of ideology, so that you have everyone coming along and then being indoctrinated into the very ideas of the party. And I think that's how the party is going to survive. That's how the party is going to win elections in years to come. And so I think that is the way that I could see ODM going. And then in the Making America, I'm looking, should Trump occupy Greenland? Should Donald Trump occupy Greenland? So Donald Trump has taken over Greenland, and of course, he says he's going to do it the easy way or the hard way. The easy way, that is, negotiate for a purchase of the territory. The hard way, because the military take over the country from Denmark, and of course, that will be no different than Russia annexing Ukraine. And so I think that is the way we should be seeing. We should be seeing. Should Donald Trump take Greenland and make it an American territory? I think that's something that I think we should really be interrogating. And I think right now, of course, Donald Trump says Greenland is strategic for its national security interests, and says if they don't do it, then Russia could annex the region. And this has upended the global geopolitical order. The neoliberal international order has collapsed. And of course, you have one of Trump's advisors, Stephen Miller, saying that basically the world is governed by force, not by international necessities. That is what Trump's advisor, Stephen Miller, says. And so I think what we need to be doing then, what Donald Trump needs to do is to reassure the European allies that they are on the same page as Americans. The whole 80-year-old alliance between America and Europe now appears to have collapsed. And so basically, I think this is the time to really check on whether America can withstand on whether America and Europe, whether their union can withstand the test of time. So bye for now till the next episode. Bye for now.